Welcome back to Partners Dog School. This week we have two beautiful basset hounds, Lulu and Moonshine, coming by for a 3-week behavior camp. And their owners, Cynthia and her husband, have mentioned they need to work through their stubborn behaviors at home and learn all the obedience commands. As they're settling in for their check-in, let's go see what else they need.
So I'm super excited about Lulu and Moonshine's check-in. Dad didn't have a lot of questions. He's done a program with us before, so he's familiar with our philosophy. He wasn't familiar with equipment, so we talked about that a little bit. He was good with it all though, which makes our job easier if we're dealing with an open-minded client who's going to take the recommendations we give them, follow the advice we give them. That's always much easier for us as trainers. And in terms of the dogs themselves, they are litter mates. But it sounds like they're litter mates where their personalities mesh well together. So we're not dealing with conflict. We're actually dealing with general obedience with Lulu, who is said to be good with people, good with dogs, knows sit, probably a little bit more laid back than Moonshine is. Whereas Moonshine is insecure or shy. He has some, sounds like mild reactivity issues, growling and trying to snip at other people or other dogs. So we're going to use Lulu to help Moonshine learn. We're going to do a lot of confidence building, a lot of obedience, and a lot of counter conditioning and behavioral modification with Moonshine. So I'm super excited to see where it goes. I'm super excited to be working with Basset Hound litter mates and really, really happy to have these clients back with us.
That first week when we're working with Lulu and Moonshine, we're going to get to know them, kind of get inside their heads, let them explore and get comfortable in the facility, and just start shaping some of that basic obedience, keeping everything nice and fun and positive before we get into more of the behavioral stuff.
She's basically saying that we're going to keep things positive and fun, focus on a lot of shaping, a lot of relationship building, a lot of reward-based training before we start holding them accountable. For me, my number one thing, especially if we're starting with Basset Hounds who are what we call green, which is inexperienced, I want to teach them to look up. Basset Hounds are really close to the ground. They live through their nose. So if you can teach them the right place to look and the right place to find engagement and food and reward and fun, the rest of the camp is just going to be a breeze.
So real quick, what I'm doing with him is I'm starting much slower. So we've noticed a couple things with him so far. One is that he wasn't taken out potty yesterday just because he's reactive. Sometimes it's more beneficial that they just soak inside the kennel. And so he hasn't been rotated out today either, which is his training session that we're working on today, at least for one of his sessions. And what I'm noticing that I really like, a couple things here, is that he still hasn't gone potty, which tells me that he has to go potty. But the fact that he hasn't gone potty in his kennel means that he's a clean dog, which means if he goes potty in his kennel, he's gonna wanna come out. Also, what I'm observing from him is that Lena threw a couple high value treats in there. I believe it's something like Instincts, which is pretty high value, and he hasn't eaten those. So he is really insecure, just like the owner said he was gonna be. He's really shy, just like the owner said. And so in that case, I'm going to also trust the owner that if I do try to rush it, go and slip him up, he's gonna try to nip me. And if that's the case, if we get too far into the day and he hasn't been out yet, we'll muscle through it. But for right now, what I'm doing is getting him used to my presence. So I'm always watching his behavior here, and you can see that he's kind of started to get a little bit trembly and a little bit shaky. That's just his, emotion. He's processing sort of what he's feeling, which is nervous and shy. So part of what I'll do with him throughout the day is just kind of be here. I'm not going to talk to him too much, and I'm just going to kind of sit and be. And I can tell that this is impactful for him in one way or another, because as I'm here, he starts shaking more. So it's not that I'm sitting here doing nothing with him. What I'm doing is kind of desensitizing him to me being here. And that's going to set me up for success when I'm building his trust, building a relationship, slipping him up to take him out. And eventually, by the end of today, or at the very most a couple days time, when I'm starting working with him.
As we approach the end of our first week here with both Lulu and Moonshine, I'm noticing there is a bit of resistance to our training, Naturally, the basset hound is a very stubborn breed that uses more of their nose than anything else, so it will be a challenge for both Lena and myself to try and make ourselves an extremely valuable resource during both Lulu and Moonshine sessions. This is going to be tough moving into our second week, but I'm confident the obedience and structure with these two will continue to improve.
All right, so I'm pulling out Lulu Bell for the first time today. She was taking a little nap, but she seems nice and excited to come out. Today we're gonna kind of build on what we were doing yesterday, which is fine-tuning and shaping her obedience. She is being very food motivated, is liking to work for treats and her kibble. She's so excited. So that works in her favor, making it easy to shape her obedience in a very positive and fun way. Now that she's very excited and wants to come out, we're gonna use that in our advantage to get her to kind of work to get what she wants. So for today, for Lulu Bell, we're focusing a little bit more on accountability. This is gonna be the same for Moonshine. They are doing very well understanding their commands, the heel, sits, downs, stays, recall, all of that. Now it's just about getting them to do it even when they don't necessarily want to. They are a little stubborn, but as you can see, she's very eager to come out, and they are very eager to kind of please when they are focused, but it's the distractions that are getting in the way. So today I am going to work on utilizing a prong collar on a tap to see if this will kind of help with some of the accountability. All right, so Lulu Bell here is ready to go check out some of the daycare dogs. This is gonna be her first experience in daycare. We're gonna see how she feels about them. We'll start slow. So we're gonna start right here in the threshold, let her just get kind of comfortable with the dogs being on the other side of the gate here. So I could tell that she was a little nervous coming in. I wanted to make sure to advocate for her space, make sure the dogs aren't lingering too close to her, making her feel as comfortable as possible. After the initial coming in, she did settle down a little bit. She's a more curious, kind of exploring with her nose at a safe distance. So overall, I think it did go very well. We'll continue to do this and continue to build her confidence in daycare.